Hello everybody and welcome to the J72 Gaming channel. My name is Jacob, you can just call me Jay here. Today I wanted to show you every house in Cutlass Keys and tell you which ones that I think are the best based off of their tiers, looks, locations, and their general vibes. Now if you're new to this channel, welcome. I usually make videos on survival and crafting games, and I've been having so much fun with this game that I wanted to share some of the aspects of it that I'm enjoying the most with you guys. So in this series of videos, I want to show you all the houses in each settlement to hopefully let you find a place to call your own, or maybe help you decide if the housing system in this game is worth it enough for you to dive into the world of Eternum here in New World. In this fifth video of this series, we have Cutlass Keys, the settlement and zone I honestly fell in love with and would totally live in if I didn't already hail from the neighboring region of Monarch's Bluff. I like its pirates vibe and generally has a central crafting area, so it's fairly handy in that right. Now in these videos, we'll go over each house tier by tier, so tier 1 followed by 2, 3, and 4. And I'm going to order the list by each ones I find coolest or most useful, saving the best ones for last. If you know what tier you want to purchase and are here just to look at those, check the timestamp below. Alright dudes, make sure you sit back, kick back, and go grab that snack as we dive into each house here in the Keys. Let's do this. Okay, first things first, like usual, let's take a look at the map before I head into the live gameplay section of this video. This here is the New World interactive map on the website Map Genie, link below. It's super useful for finding pretty much anything you would need to here in the world of Eternum. The map you can see right here is Cutlass Keys with only the houses filtered and the tier of each one shown as well. We'll be using this map frequently to help you get an understanding of the town a bit. So first up, tier 1s. Alright, so let's dive into tier 1 houses here in Cutlass Keys. Now, the tier 1 houses are all pretty much the same on the inside, so I honestly rank these all the same, but one of them is a little bit more unique, so I guess I'll save that one for the last. Let's start with this guy right here. It's going to be the one that has the most porch space. Let's hide that HUD for you guys. And what shocked me when I walked in here is this bed. I've never seen this bed before, so this is sweet. Doesn't come with the house, unfortunately. But yeah, really cool to see that this person has done pretty well. Now, all of these tier 1 houses are fairly the same. This one is over here by the northeastern entrance, so it's actually pretty good access to the rest of the zone. Or rather the other zones, since most of the zone is down in the southwest. Now, if you come around the corner here, we will see both of the other two, and these guys are actually going to be neighbors. So it's going to be this white one here, which I find very unique. We'll save this one for last, simply because it's got a walkway underneath it, so you don't really see that too often in New World here. This one is the other tier 1. It's identical to the first one I showed you. It's just a different location, and it's blue, so choose what you want. Now this one here, I'm actually going to take you guys inside. You can see that you do actually have a tiny, whoops, button fumble. You do have a tiny bit of a balcony. So not as much balcony space as the other two houses, but you do have kind of a more unique exterior of the house. So, you know, choose what you want. I would pick this one just because it's a little bit more unique, and I like uniqueness as far as the houses go. And this one stands out in the town, so it's pretty cool. Okay, so for the tier 2s, we have just a little bit more variety. However, unfortunately, all of them are going to be reused assets from Windsward and Everfall, which is, if you've seen my last video on First Light, is going to be kind of a negative for me. I really like it when towns have a little bit of a uniqueness to them. But besides that, we've got two houses here that are going to be 2 stories and quite the same. So let's go ahead and just quickly take a look at this one. We've seen this many times before. No backyard, 2 stories. This was actually identical to the first house I purchased, so it's, you know, it's okay. But that's all that one has. And over here we actually have another white one. So not only is it identical on the inside, it is identical on the outside too. So once again, bada bing, bada boom, 2-story house. Now, right adjacent to this 2-story house is going to be the next one I recommend, which is going to be this one right here. I like this one because this has the biggest backyard for a 2-story house. So if you do want backyard and that's important for you, I would recommend this. This player has done something interesting where I have to dive down underneath that to get into the backyard. But yeah, fairly large backyard, honestly, for a 2-story, or sorry, tier 2, pretty much anywhere in the world. This is actually a fairly large backyard. So they give you kind of a lot to work with here, which is pretty solid. Now, the next 2 houses I actually consider probably tied for the top best. So it depends on if you want a good balcony view or a little bit of a backyard with a good location to fast travel in. So this guy right here is going to be right in the middle of town, right by the fountain. So as far as fast traveling in, you're going to fast travel right to this spot when you teleport in, which is pretty sweet in my opinion. Go ahead and hop in here and I'll show you guys what's up. This one is going to have a backyard, not super large, but it does exist, and I think it's big enough to kind of do whatever you would want. It does wrap around, so you can kind of have some like chests out here and storage if you want, really make use of the space that they give you. But besides that, it's going to be a 2-story house. The second story on these types of house builds, this is kind of like the smallest second story that they have, but again, you get that backyard added onto it, so it's pretty nice all in all. But the tier 2 that I find the most unique and the most interesting is going to be right here, just next to the Syndicate faction guy. This whole building just looks cool, it looks unique. It's got a little bit of a walkway and it's got a long staircase up to it, so you're gonna have a unique experience if you purchase this one here. As far as the inside goes, it's just a kind of single 1-story, so it's not that big on the inside, but it does have a very large balcony. So as far as area space, it's pretty comparable to or comparable to the other ones. But yeah, I like this one the most just because, again, it's unique. It's got a Cutlass Keys vibe to it, you know what I mean? You don't get space out here, unfortunately, but you got plenty over here. So yeah, this would be my recommendation for tier 2. Got a good view out of the what is that, the western entrance. So yeah, I like it. Fairly cozy. And again, I do just want to kind of harp on the fact that I think the coolest thing about this tier 2 specifically is its exterior. You're going to have one of the coolest looking houses with one of the most unique things going on in the game, really. You don't usually have those staircases, and you definitely don't always have walkways underneath your house, specifically underneath the balconies. So pretty awesome. All right, so for the tier 3s, we have 7 options here, and unfortunately 5 of them are identical, and they're actually the house setup that I like the least. So you can see here at this blue one, this is going to be an example of the setup that we're going to have 5 of, which is basically the 3-story houses with the balconies on the 2nd floor. So this balcony here is nothing too impressive, looks outside on a big rock face, but yeah, I'm not a big fan of this. I've said this in my previous videos of the series. I don't like these houses, but they've got the stairs coming up in the middle of the room. It really cuts back your surface area that you can work with. It just kind of makes the room a little bit awkward. But upstairs here is going to be just a few windows and a fireplace. So just across the street here from that guy is the other one, which is going to be this white one. And I'm not going to spend too much time showing you guys the entire interior on all of these, but I do want to run in to show you the views because I think that's what makes each one unique. Specifically, the balconies are going to be what determines which one of these you want if you like the layout. This one has a view of the church. And if we take a run through the church here to get back onto the main road, although Cutlass doesn't really have a main road, if I'm honest. It's got kind of a jumbled spaghetti web mess of things, but it's going to be this one right here. And so we'll go up and take a look at the views that this one has to offer. This one's got kind of a bland view out of the window there, and I would probably say that this is actually the best balcony view, but this is the only balcony view that doesn't overlook the outside of the town. So if you're okay with that and you like this layout, I actually would recommend probably this one out of these 5 the most. All right, so cut in the back here, kind of in this isolated little neighborhood section, which I do actually really enjoy. We've got this blue one here. Again, same thing that I've been saying. It's going to have the same interior, and the views out of this one are okay in the front. Actually, it's kind of got a similar view of the inn there, so I'm actually a big fan of this view, but not that big of a fan of this one out here. Unfortunately, with Cutlass, I think these views would have been much better if these balconies were on the 3rd story. There are templates of these houses in the game of 3-story builds with the big window and the balcony on the 3rd floor. Actually, that's what I own in Monarchs, but unfortunately every single one in here in Cutlass is going to be the 2-story window and the 2-story balcony, which is, you know, just a little bit of a bummer in my opinion. And last but not least, on these 5 identical buildings, we've got the one here by the Waystone, and this one's view, just like the others, is going to be kind of average. Let's be real. View over here is of the inn, but kind of smacked up against it. And then the view here is pretty much identical to the one I showed you last time. A little bit too low as far as the looking over the gate goes, and doesn't have the craziest view. All right, but enough of that negativity, because we do have a few that are slightly more unique. So we've got this one here, which is going to be the one that I would recommend if you want a large backyard, opposed to the next one, which is going to be the one I recommend if you want the majority of surface area to build with. But yeah, you get a pretty large tier 3 backyard with this one. So out of all of the houses in Cutlass Keys here, I actually really like this one. So I highly recommend this one if you're a backyard fan. However, the one that I recommend if you want a tier 3 in Cutlass Keys is going to be this one right here. This big blue one. It's got a cool entranceway up to this little bit of a fenced-in patio. And in here, it's going to be the template. Whoops, don't crouch. It's going to be the template here that has the really large area right here that I'm a fan of. You can put stuff up high, like that guy's got his light up there. And yeah, there's a lot of space with this one, and it looks really good from the outside. Now, these ones don't have balconies, and they don't have backyards, so you do lose a bit of a view. And this guy's view is actually not really anything to write home about. But I'm just a big fan of the downstairs. I think there's a lot of space to work with, and you can really kind of have some elevation gains and hang things up on the walls and kind of make this place unique. So yeah, this is my pick and my opinion of the best house for tier 3, but let's get into the tier 4s. All right, so for our tier 4s, we have 7 options, and unfortunately, guys, I feel like I'm repeating myself here. Unfortunately, like the tier 3s, we actually have quite a lot of them that are identical. There are 2 that are stand out, so I'll save those 2 for last, but we'll take a look at this one here. And a lot of these are going to be the 2-story setup with a backyard, and the backyards, for whatever reason, actually have a varying degree of sizes. So most of them are fairly large, to be honest. That's something I've noticed Cutlass Keys is good at doing. Their houses are kind of the same as some of the rest of the world, but they do have really large backyards to work with that. So, you know, trade-offs, I guess, there. Also, that's a really fancy couch. I haven't seen that before. So if I show you guys here on the map, we'll just kind of work our way around clockwise here throughout all the houses. This one's going to be the next one here. And again, it's going to be the same setup, so I'm not going to show you guys too much of like the upstairs. But what is important to understand about the difference from all of these is the backyard and basically the vibe of each one. I'll give you a few seconds to kind of look at each one and decide which one you want. Although, let's be real, I don't necessarily recommend any of these because they're just kind of all identical and the same. Sneak peek for the final one there as we continue around this corner here. It's going to be this white one, this blue one, and even that other blue one right there. So this white one here has actually an insane backyard. I think this might be the biggest one in Cutlass Keys. So out of all these copy paste ones with the 2-story setup, this one would be the one I recommend. But we're not even gonna go check out the other blue one inside because you can see the backyard right here from that guy. But let's go take a look at that blue one up there. I totally lied. That blue one is the tier 3 we took a look at. But let's continue around here, and I will show you the last of the copy paste ones here. Well, that's honestly, every time I say it, I feel like that's a rough term. It's just the template that they use very often. So this one here actually has a very small backyard, so I would not recommend this one compared to some of the others. It's just, you know, why buy the same house and you can get one with a bigger yard? It's the way I see it. Now, speaking of a bigger backyard, this next house is for those of you who want a tier 4, don't care about how big the actual house is, but wants a lot of space in the backyard. So this one here is going to be, oddly enough, a single-story, single-room tier 4, which doesn't happen very often, but when it does, you get a massive yard. So look at this. This has so much room. It wraps all the way around. This guy had put a dog up on his chest, which gave me a chuckle the first time I saw it. And yeah, it's fairly decent, honestly. If you can't tell, I'm a fan of the ones that have large backyards, and the interior space is kind of secondary for me. But you know, if the interior is important to you, this one doesn't have too much space for a tier 4, so you know, choose what you want. However, the one I highly recommend, and this is easily my favorite house in all of Cutlass Keys here, is going to be this house that I'm looking at right in front of us. It overlooks the main crafting area. It's got the storage box right next door, which is honestly very handy when you teleport in. And it's going to have the setup that we have seen before in Everfall. And I think there might have been one in Windsward too, but it's super unique. You only get one of these buildings in each zone. You never have have two, as far as I've seen so far. It's got kind of a side room over here, which people usually use as storage, but you could also use it as a bedroom, or make it kind of like a guest house if you want. There's lots of possibilities that you could do to decorate that one. And this guy has decorated very, very well. He has very high points, and it makes sense. It's one of the coolest houses. It's got kind of a small upstairs, but doesn't really matter too much. It's got about the same space as some of the other tier 2s that I was showing you as far as the upstairs goes. But what really seals the deal for me as far as being in the best house is this balcony view. You get to look at the whole town, and it's just kind of, you know, quaint and cozy, and it's pretty cool. It's the only other, actually I think it's the only balcony that overlooks inside the main fountain area, so that alone makes it pretty sweet. And yeah, compare that, or combine that with the fact that it's got this kind of like little side room over here, and you've got a very, very fancy, unique house to hang out here in Cutlass. Doesn't have a backyard, but if you want a backyard, go for that tier 1. That tier 4 that I just showed you with the huge backyard. It feels like a tier 1, right? It's got it's got one room, but massive backyard. But yeah, this is gonna be my pick for you guys. If you want the best house in Cutlass Keys, I highly recommend going for this one. You're gonna get a lot of space. You're gonna have a lot of unique angles to work with, and you've got that bitchin' view over the main fountain area. So yeah, guys, hope you like it. All right, guys, so I like this house so much I decided to choose it as my outro place, so hopefully that tells you a little bit about my personal opinion on this location. But yeah, that's going to be every house location here in Cutlass Keys. I hope you guys like it. As far as the houses here in Cutlass Keys, I was a little let down, I'll be real. A lot of them are the ones that we've seen before in Everfall and Windsward, and uniqueness to me is very important in this game. So I like the zone Cutlass Keys, but unfortunately the houses are just kind of more of the same that we've seen. Next episode is going to be up in let's check the map here, up in Brightwood, and then after that we'll see Weaver's Fen. These two zones, I don't like them as far as their aesthetics. They're very swampy and kind of gross and full of lost and zombies and all that stuff, so it doesn't have, you know, nice beautiful sunsets like we have here in Cutlass Keys. But what they do have is some unique houses, so stay tuned. If you're enjoying the series, make sure you like and subscribe, and check that out. And I've been posting these every 2 days, so keep an eye out for that. We'll be going through those, and then working our way up to the last zones here in New World, which is super exciting. And as we get new zones, of course, with expansions and DLCs, I'll be sure to upkeep and update you guys with some more videos on that. But yeah, guys, that's it for me and Miguel Montoya here, my character. Yeah, I have been Jay. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and until next time, peace out.